Hey, we're cooking with gas here on the Jewcast.
Okay, careful using a phrase like that.
This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery, of a sham, of a mockery, of a travesty, of two mockeries, of a sham.
Tradition!
Oh, shut up, Carl! Shut your goddamn Jew mouth! You people are why there's war in the Middle East!
Gekakken van Jan.
Nebbig.
Ver poepoepoe.
Vermischt.
Verkakt.
Vertut.
Verstonken.
Fartig.
Exactly.
You what Grammy Hall would call a real Jew.
Hello there.
Jews of the world unite! It's the 15th episode of American Jew.
I'm excited, too. It's our quinceañera.
Oh, all right. Yay. Good times. All the Latino Jews out there. The Sephardic Jews, if you will.
Yeah, I'm enjoying their presence on our podcast. They're listeners.
I sure hope they are. We don't just want the Ashkenaz.
You know, we'll listen. We'd like to hear from all of you.
We want all the Jews. We want all the tribes of Jacob.
Yeah, we'll take the good ones, the bad ones, the satanic ones, whichever.
Actually, wait, it's the tribes of Isaac? Jacob was one of those tribes, right? Yeah, that's how it was.
Right, you're
Isaac had 12 sons, right? And those were the 12 tribes of Hebrew, and one of them was Jacob, and, you know, he had the technicolor coat.
It sounds right to me.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
So I don't know if you were reading any of the news, but Louis Farrakhan apparently not an anti-Semite, according to him.
You can't claim you're not an anti-Semite if you do anti-Semitic things, though.
Yeah. Facebook apparently banned him for being an anti-Semite, so he gave a big speech where he was like, no, I'm not. I'm just very good at spotting the bad Jews.
Oh, he's very good at spotting the bad Jews?
He says
I don't know. That sounds... I mean, if Facebook bans you from something, there's a good chance you are it, and especially if your posts are getting a lot of likes by Nazis.
Yeah, well, apparently, according to Farrakhan, he knows the truth on how to separate the good Jews from the satanic Jews, and he that's what he says.
Who are the satanic Jews? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. I feel like they sound like more fun.
The satanic Jews?
Yeah.
Who are the good Jews?
The satanic Jews. That sounds like it could be a great band.
That right? Welcome to Satanic Jews.
Our ticket prices are very reasonable.
And if you don't come, you'll burn in hell.
I don't know. I think that it's an indication that there's a lot of misinformation out there, and some of it's being put out by the very people that it's about.
Well, absolutely. You know, some people want to propagate anti-Semitism when it's not even happening.
Yeah. Well, also, I was reading another story in the news today that a lot of American anti-Semitism is self-generated. It's like, you know, not self-hating Jews, but other Jew-hating Jews.
Jews hating Jews.
Yeah, like a lot of Jews seem to have there's a lot of disagreement on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the middle, you know, stuff in the Middle East, and that seems to be what a lot of the anti-Semitic stuff that's being spread is by Jews towards other Jews.
They're being anti-Semitic towards each other.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, is that counted as anti-Semitism if it's coming from another Jew?
Well, what they're basically saying
or
is
just like you don't like somebody, right?
There's a lot of disagreements on how America is handling the whole Israeli thing, and American Jews disagree with each other.
Well, yeah, which we should, which is good. I mean, I know I disagree with a lot of, you know, the Jewish sentiment towards Israel and Palestine. I'm, you know, very interested in peace in the Middle East, possibly a two-state solution. I have a lot of sympathy for the Palestinian people, so I could relate. But I'm not being like, you other Jews are a bunch of kikes or whatever. That would be hard. That would be horrible, you know? Yeah. But so I don't know if is it anti-Semitism if it's a Jew against a Jew? I don't think so. But yeah, there's some conflict. And I think that's just more proof that, like, we need to try to stop the conflict instead of just perpetuating it and keeping it going and be like, we're right, you're wrong, and that's the end of it. And I think that more and more Jews are coming forward and saying, no, wait, this isn't right, and that's a good thing. So I'm glad there's some Jew-on-Jew conflict. It's sad that anti-Semitism is running so rampant, but I also feel like people want to point fingers and claim everything is anti-Semitism right now, you know?
Yeah, just mentioning Judaism or Israel, you know, you're going to be labeled as something.
You cannot say anything bad about Israel, as we talked about before, with unfortunately, you know, not being considered an anti-Semite, which it's horrible. Actually, there was like another congresswoman, Rashida Talib, have you heard about this? She made a comment about how, everything that happened in the Holocaust was horrible and it was really bad, but, that still doesn't change the fact that a lot of Palestinian people were driven from their land when, it was given to Israel, but it's awful what happened in the Holocaust. She keeps saying that, and a bunch of Republicans are being like, she's an anti-Semite, look at what she said, she's denying the Holocaust, and it's like, she never said that, but it's like they want to create conflict. They want people, to be uneasy and to think that there's anti-Semitism and point fingers when the truth is some things that happened in Israel were wrong. Not all Jews are horrible. And I think the majority of the anti-Semitism in America, like we've talked about many times, has nothing to do with Israel and Palestine. It's more based on dumb, anti-Semitic tropes that have been passed down through history about, us Jews trying to control the world and control the media. And I just think it's sad and it's a shame. And I think, we need to, as Jews, try to be leaders for the world and perpetuate peace and get peace going and do whatever we have to do to get that happen. And we should have more sympathy for people than anybody else because of all the hardships that we've gone through.
For sure. I think, I think that we throw that terminology around a lot. I was reading part of that same article was talking about how the usage of the word neo-Nazi or references to Hitler are people that are attacking the right and Hitler and Trump's base to sort of demonize them at the same time as there's all this anti-Semitism rhetoric going on. It's confusing, and I think sends the wrong message to try to it confuses everything by muddling it up.
I mean, it's really, it's crazy times we live in, especially with social media. Everybody has an opinion, It used to be like everybody was going to have 15 minutes of fame is what Andy Warhol said. And now it's just like everybody's going to have, 15 relevant, Facebook posts or tweets or whatever, and everybody has something to say. But the thing is, we got to stop being like, this person's wrong, this person's right, I'm better than you, this is mine, this is yours. And we really need to try to, I don't want to sound like some hippie over here, but it's true. Enough is enough. There's enough violence. There's enough sadness. There's enough hardship in this world. We need to be the best we can be, and we need to do that in a way that we are going out of our way to, bring love and respect to everybody.
There's a tenet of Judaism that I think is always, it's like a double-edged sword for me, but it's one of my favorite parts of it, and it's that there's always questioning. The Jews are taught to always question why we do certain things or why we have our traditions.
Okay.
Like that's part of the whole religion, is to always question. And the part that kind of disappoints me is that ultimately the answer is supposed to be sufficient when you're not asking why do we do this from a moral standpoint, but they're asking, the question is usually answered with more scripture, more Torah studies, But I feel like to question and to constantly adapt and evolve your ideas and your way of thinking should be something that we engage in more often. I think that the fact that we're, you have people all over the world that are still basing a lot of their opinions and beliefs on a 2,000-year-old text or a 5,000-year-old text, or there are ideas that need to be evolved,
absolutely,
and change with the times. And I think being more open to other types of other cultures and other types of ways of living, it should definitely be a part of it.
No, I know people are, especially in the Jewish community, very against assimilation. But I think what we need is need more Jewish people or Israelis and Palestinians getting together. There should be an app for that.
Yeah.
Forget Juice Swipe. I want to have this, I don't know what, Gaza stripe or something. The Gaza Swipe, maybe that's what it could be.
The Gaza Swipe.
And it's Jews and Palestinians, and match them up. And then, maybe if there's more of these, half Jew, half Palestinian babies, we could just get some peace and get along, because it's like, as long as we're going to be like, this is our land, this was the land given to us by God, then by the UN, and it doesn't, they don't deserve it, it shouldn't be their land. It's like, we're just going to keep having this turmoil over and over again, and it's been enough people have been hurt, enough people have lost their lives, and like, it's stupid. It's like the whole thing, like, two wrongs don't make a right, as cliche as that sounds.
I do like the idea of trying to do it as a dating app, though, the Gaza Swipe, it'll be like an explosion, boom! It's It's a match.
It'll just be a rock being thrown back and forth.
Well, let's look at this week's Torah portion because I got a lot of questions.
Okay, what's going on this week's Torah portion?
Did you look at this week's Torah portion?
I looked at it briefly. You know, I know it has stuff to do about like the priests, the Cohens, the Cohen Gadols. First of all, you can't be disfigured if you want to go to the Holy Temple if you're one, which that's kind of rude. Like, so if you're born like with a disability or something, then all of a sudden you're not good enough.
I guess like back in the day, none of the temples were wheelchair accessible. So it's just,
yeah, definitely.
They were just covering their asses, really, is all that's about.
And I was doing like they can't marry a divorced woman or they can't marry a woman that was promiscuous. Like that's whoa. Like
seriously,
how do they know? Like what is that? Like, hey, meet you. How many guys have you been with? Sorry, you can't be with me. I'm a Cohen.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other laws that are in there.
What else do we got?
Let's see. The daughter of the priest, if she defiles herself through harlotry, her father should set her on fire.
Wow! So, forget Salem witch trials right there. Now,
as far as I know, usually the daughter of the priest is the fucking whore.
I mean, the girls that go to Catholic schools are
right. So, I mean, are we really setting them on fire? Let's keep them around.
I mean, those are the girls I want around, but that's horrible. Why? Like, that is so. Yeah. Like, I don't like this. There's a lot of this in the stuff. If like,
it's a lot of judgment.
They did it with Aaron's sons. They, like, why can't the priest is like, let your kid do what they want to do? Like, and how do we know what they are? Like, is this being exposed for everybody to see? Like, if she's sleeping with a bunch of people?
I don't know. I think the deformed thing is definitely like it's a lot of body shaming. It seems
yes, we don't need this much body shaming in the Bible. I don't think for sure. What else laws do we have besides like the priests and they can't marry certain people or promiscuous women, or if their daughters are harlots, you should set them on fire? Jeez, wow.
Well, there's like all these like
that'll get your girl your daughter not to fool around with anybody. I'm just saying, if he puts a move on you, we're setting you on fire.
Yeah. Let's see. When an ox or a sheep or a goat is born, it shall stay 7 days with its mother, and from the 8th day it shall be acceptable as an offering.
Okay, so yes, at least give the mom 7 days of happiness with the baby until you kill it, and then there's something about like you can't kill the baby and the mom on the same day, right? You have to do them at different times.
Yeah, it's something like that, and it's
Again, God is kind of, there's a lot of parts of the Bibles that are about like kind of stories that happen. And these are just more about like the laws and the rules that he wants to give. And some of them, we've discussed, we think are kind of unfair. They don't really make a lot of sense. But again, this is something that like what you mentioned earlier. Like,
I don't know when there's time to be a fucking harlot or a whore when you got all these things to do. How do you even find time to fuck everybody in the village?
I know, seriously. And I don't like that. This is a real, slut shaming kind of thing. And I don't think they need that. Where's like the bad stuff for all the guys that are taking advantage of these priest women? They should stay away from it.
Yeah.
But like what I was going to say is like the times have changed. If the Bible was like truly written and everything is literal, like it's not the same world that we're living anymore. It's kind of the same thing about like, the right to bear arms. Like, yeah, when we wrote that in the Constitution, people needed to have guns. Right now, people don't need to have guns, So back then, yes, the temple might not have been wheelchair accessible. Now they are not only wheelchair accessible, but you could bring guns in and shoot them up, unfortunately.
Let's see. And a fight broke out in the camp between the half-Israelite and the certain Israelite man. The son of the Israelite woman pronounced the name in blasphemy. There came out among the Israelites a man whose mother was Israeli and whose father was Egyptian.
Okay. So, he spoke blasphemy. So it's kind of saying, like, if you talk against God or Jews, then you're going to get stoned or killed.
Right. And then, then we also have the part in here that's eye for an eye. Anyone who kills a human being, that human being shall be put to death. If you kill a beast, you shall make restitution for it, life for life. If anyone maims another person, what was done shall be done in return. Fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth.
Wow, I don't know how I feel about that. That's some like vengeful stuff.
You shall have one standard for stranger and citizen alike. Moses spoke to the Israelites, then they took the blasphemer outside the camp and pelted him with stones.
Yeah, well, I guess we would be getting probably pelted pretty bad. Whoa. Are you choking on a rock there that you accidentally got pelted with, Jordan?
No, I'm just very phlegmy.
Yeah, so I guess, it's you see, this is very weird. Because like you had mentioned before that we're supposed to question, but it almost seems like questioning is a little bit of blasphemy, right?
Well, so the thing is that I like the idea of being able to question, and that helps you to adapt the ideas, to evolve your way of thinking, to make it something that makes sense in our times. I think that people who I know who have been raised very religiously, the act of questioning is just to learn how to do it, and not the actual reasoning behind the practice.
Right. I think it depends on the questions that you ask. You need to ask the questions more about, like, why are we doing this? Not like challenging the questions. Like, it's more about like explaining the questions or having a better understanding of them.
Right.
Which is bullshit.
Right. I mean, the explanation is just a little bit more explanatory than because I said so.
Basically, that's what it was.
Yeah, because I am God, you're eternal, and otherwise
God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
But it's blasphemy. Blasphemy is talking bad about God.
Right.
But he was also disrespecting his mother.
I mean, I would imagine so.
Okay. Well, definitely don't disrespect your mother. If you're going to disrespect God, I mean, I guess I don't necessarily believe in this God, so
I mean, this is a very specific thing. It's like one time we found a guy who was only half Jewish. So
I know, right? This is getting weird because it's like, oh, do this, leave these altars. If you're a priest, you can't marry this person. If your daughter's a whore, you got to do this person. Hey, these are all the holidays that you got to celebrate when it comes to doing sacrifices. That's how you have to do it. Oh, yeah. And that one guy who talked crap about God, we stoned him.
It really is contradictory to have last week's be, treat a stranger as you would yourself, and then have the very next day be like, oh, also, if you're not one of us and you blaspheme against God, we kill you.
Yeah, not cool. A lot of holes.
We're
poking a lot of holes in this week's Torah portion. I went to a meeting for the Jewish Voice for Peace, a nice organization that is, about the plight of the Palestinian people, and try to bring awareness and try to help them. And, I thought it was very interesting what they have to say. And, I encourage people out there that they're interesting to Google them or to Google other organizations such as them, and to step up and to do right and to speak out. And you're not speaking against your people. You're actually speaking for your people, because we need to be, like I said before, examples of love and goodness in this world.
Did you also promote the podcast?
I mentioned it there.
Yeah, because that's what we need to do.
But I didn't.
Send us an email if you are interested in anything that we haven't discussed yet.
AmericanJewPodcast@gmail.com.
You can shoot us a message and follow us on all the other social media apps at American Jew Podcast, except on Twitter, we're American Jew Pod.
I'm Jonathan Randall at Jonathan Randall.
I'm on Instagram at Beatnik Nudnik. And
thanks for listening. Leave us a review on iTunes. We need some more 5 stars.
It would be a mitzvah if you did it.
A huge mitzvah. It's the 614th one.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Shalom.